Welcome back to the Bright Side of Beauty podcast presented by Beyond Skin Aesthetics. I am so excited for today's episode, but before we jump into it, I have a couple of housekeeping things. One, did you know that we now have a Patreon? You can find us on Patreon at the Bright Side of Beauty or by searching Delaney Danielle on there. So I don't have my full legal name. I have Delaney Danielle. You can search Delaney Danielle, Bright Side of Beauty. It's all one thing together. It should pop up no matter how you type it in there. But we have a couple of different membership levels on there that you can choose from, whether it's for business, whether you're an esthetician, whether you are a medical provider and you want more of that information. Everything is in there. And I'm also going to be linking some of the direct things that we talk about, whether it's on this episode or other episodes, so that you have those resources easy to choose from, as well as added resources and added video and training content. So check us out over on Patreon. Second thing is, I want you to all stop what you are doing right now. If you are listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, or if you're on another platform, will you please go subscribe over on YouTube? It helps me to basically spread the word of the podcast and grow. And that is ultimately the goal, of course. So please share this with a friend and subscribe over on YouTube or whatever platform that you are on. I would say not or, and YouTube and whatever platform that you are on right now. And if you don't mind, please leave me a review as well. Tell me what you loved about this episode and connect with all of our guests. I have all of their information linked in the show notes of every episode. And like I mentioned before, now that we are over on Patreon, I'm going to make sure that we have extended resources available to you on Patreon, but I will also have some quick links in the show notes below. Without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Today, I am joined by my friend and fellow No Better Skin Pro with Color Science, Aleshia Regan, and we are going to be talking all about the patient journey and basically our ins and outs of what that patient experience is like. It's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that Aleshia is extremely passionate about. It's near and dear to her heart, and I have learned a lot from her in just the last couple of weeks alone since we were at Aesthetic Next together. So Aleshia actually spoke at Aesthetic Next. Okay. Aleshia, we need a whole intro from you, but was this your speaking debut at Aesthetic Next?
Yes, that was my first time on podium. Yeah.
You are a pro. I mean, I know
Oh,
we're No Better Skin Pros, but you truly are a pro at communicating and getting your passion across. And I know that this is something very near and dear to your heart, but you even gave me a couple of tips and tricks outside of your session that I learned from you. So we're going to talk about all that stuff today. Before we jump into all of that, though, let's learn a little bit about Aleshia. How did you get into aesthetics? Tell us about your journey before we talk about the patient journey.
How much time do we have?
As much as you
I have a
want. We'll
long
just make
journey.
this a 4-part series.
Well, let me give you the short version. So I've been in aesthetics for about 14 years, and I started on the business side of things. So originally, way back then, I really had a passion for skin. Not for any particular reason, but I guess I just loved the confidence that it exuded in people, and obviously was obsessed with makeup at that time as well. Had lots of interest in becoming a makeup artist. But at that time, I decided to get a job at Hand and Stone and kind of see and like feel it out, because I was always about, let me get a job in the industry before, I go further my education to do something else, not knowing like what I was in for. So I got a job at Hand and Stone as assistant manager, and then they promoted me to manager of another location. So I did that for about 2 years, and then quickly moved on to a higher end, like bigger day spa. So wasn't medical at that point, but I was basically managing like 40 plus employees, estheticians, massage therapists, nail techs, and eventually a whole other salon that was a separate business. But we conjoined our front desks and ran them together, which was very complex and complicated, but we did it. So I then decided to get married. I had 2 kids. I have a girl and a boy, Olivia and Tommy. They are almost 9 and 7, and I've been married for 10 years. So I, in the midst of that, kind of became a makeup artist while I was a manager at this day spa because I was introduced to somebody who had their own company and they were like, you need to come work for me. I want to get you started. So she kind of helped me out and I got my kit together and the rest was history there. I did traveling wedding makeup for 10 years, which was, I like can't even believe that much time went by. So I drove and traveled all over the place doing wedding makeup. I was extremely booked and every single weekend at that point. So I wanted to further my career in the makeup industry, which led to me doing lash extensions and lash lifts and tints. Come to find out, I was really ignorant to what needed to have a license and what didn't. So at that time, I said, I think I need to go back to school because I didn't feel like what I was doing was legal, number one. And I don't like that. That's not my thing. So I decided after having two kids, I had two under two. And when my son turned two, I was closely looking at the scheduling for esthetician school where I could go. And the company didn't have just weekdays for like a part-time schedule. So I couldn't do Saturdays because I was booked every single Saturday with weddings. So once they developed another schedule, it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday night. And I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going back to school. And I just told him, and he was like, what? And I said, yeah, I'm going back to school. I said, this is happening. I was, a mom most of the time, weddings on the weekends, and then school 3 nights a week. So it was a lot. And this was all during the course right before COVID hit. So I was just about finishing up school when COVID hit. And that was a whole challenge in itself. Luckily, I got through like all of my clinical hours and all of that kind of before it hit, thank God. They did the virtual thing for a little while, but that was kind of a big joke. And then graduated and yeah, so got into more of the medical side of things just because I see the drive there and, that's what everybody wants these days. They want, the quick fix and obviously the prevention of aging. So I wanted to head in that direction because I saw that it was a booming business and rapidly growing. I did have a little stint of a job at another medical spa before coming to Awaken. And that was just their philosophy was complete opposite of what mine was. They didn't want to grow their business. They didn't want to expand. And I kind of came in and like got them set up with all their skin focused things, but then they didn't want to hear anything else I had to say. So I was like, I think it's time to go. So our, philosophies didn't align, which is totally fine. I was really good friends with Ellen, who is the founder and owner of Awaken Esthetics. And we kind of combined forces after I left and developed Awaken to what it is today, which has now been in business for 5 years, which is so crazy.
It's so exciting. And what is your role at Awaken? What do you do?
So I kind of started out doing everything, but I technically am the practice manager at this point. I just passed off the lead esthetician role to one of the estheticians that I hired and trained. So that was really exciting to give her the reins a little bit more because I was kind of doing it all. I stepped out of the treatment room as of, I guess it's almost been a year since last January, February-ish. I have like one or two clients that refuse to go to anybody else, which I'm like, it's okay because I still like to keep my hands in it a little bit. So yeah, it's been quite a transition the past few years.
I love multiple parts of your journey, starting with you started at Hand and Stone, mainly to make sure that it was a direction that you wanted to go. I think that that is so powerful when you are making a career shift of some sort or you're trying to decide what type of schooling. I think our society says you have to get an education, you have to go to school before you can even dip your toe in the water. And so I love that you started off that way to make sure that it was something you were passionate about before diving in full force.
Yeah.
I love that you were thinking through what are the legalities. I was thinking that as you were telling your journey of, okay, what are the legalities in New Jersey? Because I know every state is different, but is it, I guess, question before I jump into the rest of what I love about your journey, what are the stipulations in New Jersey? Do you have to have an aesthetics license to do lashes, to do makeup? Is it in Ohio? It's that way. Even to do bridal makeup, you have to be an esthetician legally.
Yes. So New Jersey is very rigid with their laws. So yes, you should be licensed, whether it's cosmetology or skin,
Hmm.
but some type of licensure in order to do lashes. Technically, lash lifts and tints is like a very gray area, which nobody wants to actually tell us who can do it. But
Huh.
we've had we've heard of other salons in the area got shut down by the state board because they were doing lash lifts and that was like the main source of their business and they were told they couldn't. And I'm like, well then who can? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of questionable things, unfortunately, that haven't been communicated properly. But yes, you have to be licensed to do makeup, to do skin, obviously, to do lashes and all of that. So yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you went and you got your license and it
Yeah.
brought you to where you are today. I also love that you weren't afraid to switch businesses when necessary, that you saw, okay, I've added all that I can add, I've gained all that I can gain, and you can move right along. I think that there is a lot to be said about learning something from every stage of your journey, not
Mhm.
thinking it's a waste because it really does build on itself. And then
Absolutely.
that leads me to, I love the transition that you've had going from in the treatment room to out of the treatment room, and that you still have your hands in the treatment room a little bit. I think
Mhm.
that as a office manager, as especially of a practice, but just in general, to understand the patient experience from inside of the treatment room gives you an edge when you are managing a business or you're looking at what your compliancy is going to be for your entire team, what's your process going to be, and you can really hone it into excellence. So I
Mhm.
love that you came from the treatment room. You were able to develop this experience together with your co-founder or with your founder, and then you now are still a little bit in the treatment room, so you can kind of play it out yourself in a
Yeah.
way. Do you feel like that is the case for you, that like being able to treat those couple of patients has kept you fresh and sharp and like, okay, this is how it's actually playing out for patients?
Yes, absolutely. And also, I'm still very heavily involved with doing all of the consultations. So every new patient that comes into us actually meets with myself and Ellen. And we've been doing that for, I want to say, the last year and a half, and kind of forcing every single person that comes in that's new to the practice, no matter what treatment they want, or what they think they want or need, they meet with us first and we kind of go over the vast of everything that we do here, which obviously we'll get into in a little bit.
Yes. Okay, that actually, I want to segue because I want to be able to really focus in on the patient journey, but I also want to ask this because we have actually been evaluating this within our practice as well. We do have different ads out on Meta and Google, and when we have new patients coming in, typically they are seeing at least two providers,
Mhm.
being either Katie, one of our co-founders, or myself as a managing partner. So they're seeing, one of our business owners, and then they are also seeing our medical team. And our medical team could be our nurse practitioner, Aleshia, or it could be Dr. Malumba, who's one of our co-founders. So they could be talking to, two of our business owners. They could be talking to an owner and a provider. And we believe that it's actually a little bit of an edge. It's a little bit of a value add where when
Mhm.
somebody's coming in and they're learning about your practice, they're learning directly from the source of, where did this business come from? What was the idea behind it? What's the passion behind it? Who are these people? You're learning directly from the who. And I think that that's really nice when you are trying to, gain a strong, really bought in patient base. Have you found that retention wise, because it's you and Ellen doing those consultations, that it's helped with retention? Or do you feel like it's more of getting them to buy in and at least try you out, and then the retention comes later down the road?
I think a little bit of both. I think that we originally, obviously, were both consulting our own people and we were bouncing them back and forth. So, like, she'd tell them to come see me, I'd tell them to go see them. So, whatever people we were bringing in the very beginning would obviously see each of us, but it was separate. And at that
Mhm.
point, it worked because it was just the two of us. And then we started developing a team. We hired estheticians. We had another injector in training. So once everybody kind of, went out on their own in terms of being in the treatment room and seeing their own patients, it got a little hairy. And I kind of felt like we lost track of how many new people we were seeing every week and every month, and how many of those people became a member because we have a membership. How many of those people are returning back? How many didn't? And I just felt like we completely lost track. And I was like, I don't know if their consult is the same as my consult. Like, are they as thorough as I am? And we have a very thorough client intake form to begin with. So I knew the questions were being asked, but were they being discussed in the treatment room prior to the treatment itself? And typically, we didn't always book a separate consult prior to another treatment. So there was that lack of time aspect as well, to where I don't know how thorough they were or how much time they had. So there was a lot in question. And Ellen and I sat down. We were actually at dinner with our husbands and, of course, like talking about work. And we all were like mulling through this idea. And she was like, well, maybe we just do them together. And I said, oh, you know what? That might be the key factor. And I really, truly believe that's what set us apart vastly from other practices. And also because our collaboration is so melted well together that we have like the same brain. I swear we share the same brain in terms of like business and like how we wanted to grow and how we saw the patient journey and what we wanted that to look like. So it really was very natural for us. So we're now trying to teach the other girls and having them observe. But it's difficult when you have two people in the room versus just yourself. So it
Mhm.
definitely is not easy. It comes easy to us because we've been doing it for years without even like knowing. But yeah, it's challenging. But right now it works really well, and I definitely think number one, it sets us apart. Number two, it gives people are like they feel so important when they come in because they're like, oh,
Yes.
they like see two people and they're like, wow, I get to meet with both of you. And we're like, we don't care if you're in for injectables or in for skin, you're getting both of us. And we're going to talk about everything we do. Because
Mhm.
this was another thing that we caught on to, was that people would sit in Ellen's chair or come into my room and they were like, do you know anybody that does injectables? And I'm like, what? I'm like, we do it here. And then same thing
Yes.
with her. They'd be like, do you know anybody that does waxing or facials? And she's like, yeah, we do it here. And we're like, wait a minute. Why don't people know what we do here? This is crazy. So again, that was like just another reason to like hone it in and bring it together, because we just present everything that we do. And obviously based upon their concerns, but they get a folder, they take things home with them, they can read everything over and like get the gist of our entire business in that one visit.
Oh my gosh. I have had conversations with patients this past week about that exact same thing where they're seeing me for services and they might even get Botox with us and they say, "Wait, you guys do lip flips?"
Yeah.
Or, something else, and I'm like, "Yes." And you're already in the injector's chair, which I feel like goes down to what is that patient journey and what's that consultation process like? Are we refreshing maybe that patient, like in this specific case in this past week, she knew that we did lip flips a year ago, but she
Mhm.
hadn't thought about it in a year, so she forgot that we did them. So are we bringing it back up? What does that journey look like? I feel like I have so many questions and things to talk about on this topic, but let's start from the very beginning. What is your, I guess let's go all the way back to the very, very beginning with your patients. How do they find you? And what's their experience like before they even walk into your door?
Well, we always were very big on social media from the start. Ellen and I kind of came from network marketing backgrounds in terms of, selling things online and such. As I was a new mom, I was trying to find any way I could to have something for myself, beyond doing makeup, and how could I contribute to my family. So at that point, that was social media. And I think, when COVID hit, everybody went virtual, and that's how we decided on how we were buying things and what we were buying. So that became very influential. And so both of us were really comfortable on social media. So we were on stories every single day in the beginning. It was maybe one of us, maybe both of us, mostly both of us, posting daily. So that was our main source of marketing in the very beginning. And we were very big about figuring out what our ideal client was. Who was our ideal patient? What is the age range? What is it that they are struggling with? And once we kind of figured that out, then we geared obviously our social media towards that, and we just educated because we just saw what other people weren't doing and what they weren't focusing on or weren't sharing. And we were like, we want to be the people that are going to share and educate our patients before they even come in the door. And because there was a lot of sketchy things going on, and obviously it's like the wild, wild west industry, people are popping these med spas up everywhere and not always going about things the right way. So we wanted to make sure that we communicated to everybody that we're doing things the way they should be done, to, the safest way possible, with the most expertise possible, all the training, and that, people could know, like, and trust us. So that was our main source of marketing to begin with. And then we really honed in on Google reviews. So anybody that came in, we made sure that they left us a Google review, and we very much vastly grew that very quickly. And that helped us a lot too, because now that we focus in on SEO and obviously different things with our website and social media, that's how people find us. It's either Google or social media, and they've been following us for years, and they finally decided to take the plunge to come in. Other than that, we don't pay for advertising anywhere. We have in the past, and it either didn't work out or it brought in the wrong people. We were very, very big about having the right person. We didn't want somebody coming in that was in financial distress, that, was penny pinching and, oh, I only want this many units of toxin, trying to like dictate what they wanted based on their budget, not like what they actually needed. So, and nothing against those people, but at the end of the day, we had an idea of what we wanted to be able to do for people. And when they have a limited budget and maybe too limited time, then that doesn't really work. Because this is such a journey that it's not just an in and out, which again is like a whole other education sector in itself.
It really is. Yes. So you started with building that know, like, trust before they even walked in the door. Then the patient, picks up the phone and calls, or they try to reach out online. What's your kind of booking journey look like? Because I think that that's something that practices don't think about. They think of the patient journey as the second that they walk into your door, not what it takes to get them into the door and what that experience is like, because it's really setting the groundwork for
Yes.
everything else inside the office. So what does that part of their journey look like for your practice?
So right now we have people reach out, DMing us, on Instagram, Facebook, as well as texting. Now that we have a wonderful communication system, it kind of brought everything together for us. So we didn't have multiple different platforms of communicating. So they can text us, they can call us. Obviously, we do have front desk staff that takes care of booking and giving out, specifics and information. So typically, like I said previously, we have everybody schedule a consultation. And not to say that they can't have treatment that day, but depending on what treatment it is, we will tell them no. We're not having people come in that want medical peels and microneedling or whatever they saw on TikTok because they think that's going to be the next best thing that is going to give them the result they want. So we do have a very strict protocol that we don't allow them to do any kind of treatment unless it's like a brow wax. I mean, brow wax, sure. Lash lift and tint, fine. But in terms of like skin related or injectable related things, we don't do any treatments until we meet with them in a consult. So that's usually the
Okay.
first step, is getting them to schedule that. And just to kind of give some insight as to how we go about that, when we were originally coming up with this idea, we were like, well, the two of us are going to be in a room and not actually generating any revenue. So how are we going to know that people are going to actually commit to the consult and not be wasting our time, and, have a specific budget in mind, or maybe they're price shopping. So we really cut out the shoppers. And no, disrespect to shoppers, but we don't want those patients. We want the people that are finding their place and that they want to stay here and stick with us and follow the plan. So we have them leave a deposit. They leave a $150 deposit. That deposit, therefore, will go towards a treatment of their choice. We don't make product a part of that just because that, again, doesn't entice people to want to come back to actually use that money. It's like, oh, I bought product. Yeah, we'll see. So we didn't want to leave anything to question. So we make them use it on a service of choice or whatever we decide to do. And then they get a first time discount. So they'll get a discount on their service, they'll get a discount on their retail product. And then we pre-book them. So we book them for their consult, they pay their deposit, and then they have 30 days to use that deposit money towards a treatment that they choose. So once that 30 days is up, if they didn't utilize that deposit, then that at least covers our time as providers. So it wasn't like a total waste because
I
our
think that's
consults are so
important.
thorough.
Yeah, I think that's important to know is have a time frame on there. Don't let it just be like a year later they can come back because there might be something different that's good for them at that point in time. So
Yeah,
there does need to be a time limit on that. I love that.
absolutely.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. So yeah, we just basically go through and book their appointment. They come in, and then we kind of go through our process from there.
I love that. Okay, so you set them up for their appointment. When they leave that same day, you said that they leave with a folder. What all is inside of that folder that they're leaving with?
I feel like our folder is constantly changing, but for the most part, we have our price list of all of the treatments we offer, including packages and such, because we do go over certain packages for like skin resurfacing, peels, anything that requires multiple treatments. We have a whole treatment plan that we already have pre-generated. So we'll have a list of the concerns that we've circled at the very top. Do they have a special occasion that they're planning for that we need to be cognizant of for timing purposes as to how we're going to plan out what we're going to actually be able to do within that time frame? And then obviously their birthday, and then we kind of go through all of the different treatments that we might recommend to them. So our skincare that we would start them out with is on there with pricing. All of our facials are on there, our tox, our filler, and we kind of just will go through and circle what we discussed and what we may recommend for them to do at some point. The next page is the important page because that is a calendar basically. So we have all the months of the year with little boxes, and those within those little boxes is where we write what treatments they should be doing throughout the course of that year. So typically if somebody doesn't have like a set time frame that they want to accomplish their goals by, we just say 1 calendar year. So we'll map out everything for the entire year, and from there, it's kind of up to them if they want to abide by that timeline. And we always tell them this is not set in stone. So a lot of the times, just with doing skincare and a couple of facials, we can accomplish a lot of your concerns. And most people are like, yeah, okay, we'll see. But, before and after speak volumes. And at that point, we may be able to remove some of these things off of here that we may not have to do because we've accomplished so much with just where we started. So from there, they have their whole calendar mapped out because who remembers all of that throughout this consult? We're talking about so many things. It's extremely overwhelming. But at the end of the day, this is the visual for them to go home with. So that way, if they need to think about it and they need to process, because there are a lot of people that are like that, they can go home and relook at everything we talked about. The third page of the treatment plan is recommendations. So we have a physician's associate here who is in dermatology. So that's her full-time job. So we refer out to her for dermatology, skin checks, anything that looks a little funky that we think they need to have checked, we refer to her. And then we also refer out to surgeons. So we have a wonderful eye surgeon because a lot of people need blepharoplasties that we see with a lot of their complaints with hooded lids, or the under eye area is a big one. We also have a face and neck lift surgeon that we refer out to, and a functional health and wellness practice as well for anybody struggling with like autoimmune or hormonal changes or whatever it may be. So we always
And you have
circle.
that all listed
Yes,
inside of the folder.
yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I have so many questions. First, with that, how did you develop that list? Did you talk to those people so they're also referring back to you? And
Correct.
okay,
Yeah.
so it's a true working relationship. It's
Yes.
not you just kind of like created a
Yeah.
list of your favorite people.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. And then going back to the price list that you have in there, do you have the prices for every service that you offer and like all the add-ons and all of that? Or do you give them only the prices for things that are on their like this is our suggestions, like their treatment plan list?
No, it's everything.
Okay.
Because we do so much here. So we want people to be aware of what we do so that when they see
Hmm.
the price list that, they're not questioning, oh, I wonder if they do brows, or I wonder if they do lashes, or, any of the little things that kind of come up along the way. And yeah, we're not holding back there. It's not customized based upon their specific treatment plan. So, and
Hmm.
it's actually a QR code, being that
Oh,
we've
nice.
printed them out. We waste so much ink and paper. I'm like, why are we doing that? We have technology. Like, let's make it a QR code and call it a day because I'm tired of ordering ink and paper.
Oh, what I love about that is because it's ever evolving too, you can make updates to that. And then when they go and they scan it, it's the most current. So
Yep.
you don't have to worry about somebody keeping a price list from 4 years ago and then being like, well, I have this price list. This is the price. Will you honor it? It's
Yes.
just, it's always evolving.
Yes.
I love that. We are totally going to implement that. I'm taking that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you have all of that information in there. I feel like one of the things that I'm assuming you probably get is people that say, okay, I know you suggested RF microneedling is going to be the best treatment for me, but that's not inside of my price range. I want this specific chemical peel. How do you have that conversation with them of, we're not picking your treatment based off of price. We're picking
Right.
it based on outcome.
So we definitely have alternative treatments that we can do. And not to say a chemical peel would be bad, but my conversation with them is if you truly want to see X, Y, and Z result, a chemical peel is not going to get you there. I'm very upfront and assertive with people about that because I'm not trying to lead them in the wrong direction. And it's like
Mhm.
those are the more impulsive people that like want it right now and, don't want to spend the money or don't have the money to spend. So we also offer patient fi. So that is a huge help as well to those people that maybe don't have, $3,000 to drop on a package of skin resurfacing. So that'll help them pay it over time and give them a good rate, hopefully, to be able to do that. We also do have the membership. So if people are reluctant to join our membership, the membership is like an HSA account. So they're basically banking money to save for future services and retail purchases. And with that, there are allotted particular discounts towards services, towards products. They get a free birthday facial in their birthday month. They get a deeper discount on retail in their birthday month. So there's a lot of great perks to becoming a member if they ultimately want to save more money. Obviously, packages are more discounted as a member. So there's a lot of great benefits that will help them save over time. So a lot of those people will say, this is not a sales tactic. This is legit here for you to help you along this journey and to save you the most money possible because we're both moms and we understand that finances can be very tight, especially when you have other priorities. And maybe now is not the right time for you. Maybe you're stretched a little too thin and we got to put something on the back burner for later. Let's have you join the membership. You can save your little bank over time. It's shocking how much people can save over the course of just a few months. And when they come in, they're like, girl math, it's free.
Exactly.
Which is the
We
funniest thing.
are
They're like, oh, I don't have to pay anything. Oh, that was free. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
we're
Whatever
teaching
helps you.
financial literacy. Yes.
Exactly.
We're teaching the process of saving. I
Yeah,
love it.
exactly.
Okay, so they come in for their service. They're getting scheduled ahead of time. What is that process like of kind of the in between before they come in for their treatment? How do you guide them into their treatment series? What's the follow up like? Walk us through the rest of kind of that patient journey and then how that cycle continues.
Yeah. So we're a big, big skin forward practice before anything else, even injectables in a lot of cases, especially for those who have never had injectables before. We're like, what's a couple more months? Unless, of course, they have like a special occasion. But in the event that, we're coming in to somebody who's never done anything, we actually have them hold off on doing injectables to kind of get their skin in line, because we are on the East Coast by the Jersey Shore and everybody is leather and tan and pigment everywhere. So we are sun lovers and sunbathers, and we have a lot of leathery skin to correct here, unfortunately. So that is most of what our patients struggle with, from premature aging to sun damage to pigment, obviously fine lines and wrinkles, laxity, all the things. So typically, we'll start everybody on our recommended skincare system that we utilize from Marini Skin Solutions, which is, we're diehard Marini fans here and have been for years, just because of what we've been able to accomplish in terms of skin goals. It's been phenomenal. So we do have a couple other lines here, but that is our main skincare line. We really don't cherry pick between different lines. I try not to do that. I don't like to go against the science, but that's my own philosophy and what I've kind of come up with over the years. But start them on skincare, have them, if they decide to move forward with skincare, our next move is, I want to see them for facials. If they have it in the budget and in their timeline, we're going through this journey of skin resurfacing and future injectables, then we need to see you for a couple of facials. I don't preach that people have to come in for monthly facials, because as we know, facials are not going to fix and change your skin. It's everything that you do at home that makes the biggest change. So with that being said, I tell them up front, we are here to hold your hand. We want to hold your hand through this process. We want to make sure that what you're purchasing and putting your money here for is going to do what we say it's going to do and what you ultimately want to see in the mirror every single day. So with that being said, give us the opportunity to get to know you, get to know your skin, help you through the process, make sure the products are working well for you, make sure that we don't have to tweak anything for you in order to get you to that perfect skincare routine. And then also giving us time to build upon the initial routine with a retinol, with some type of exfoliant. If they need any other additional serums, obviously Color Science at some point, if not from the very beginning. So Color Science is another brand that we carry. Obviously, the No Better Skin Pro little emblem there is one of our favorite brands. So with that being said, we start them with 2 facials within 4 to 6 weeks of each other to really hone in on that skincare routine. I usually say about 2 months on the skincare before we move forth with any other type of treatment in terms of skin resurfacing. So that's medical peels, microneedling. We also have what we call Opus. I don't know if you're familiar with Opus, but it is, what's that?
I'm not, no, go ahead.
So it is plasma skin resurfacing technology with radio frequency. So if you've ever heard of the plasma pen from years back, it's the same technology, but just delivered in a more consistent way and safer way, so where it doesn't do damage to the skin, which a lot of people experience scarring from that if it wasn't done properly back then. So we have that technology, which is kind of microneedling on steroids in terms of capability and technology. But anyway, we generally will not do those treatments for at least 3 months after they start coming to us, because we want to optimize their skin first. And I always tell people, let's build your skin barrier to the best that it can possibly be before I go tearing it apart, because we want to prepare you in a sense, like, if you decide one day that you want to go run a marathon, you're not just going to go run a marathon. You would die, like legit, not be able to get through probably a couple of miles. It's difficult. It's the same thing with your skin. So you have to start slow. It's a journey. We have to optimize your skin, get it to be at its best, get all of the kinks out and make sure you're on a retinol, obviously some type of pigment inhibitor. And then we can go in and start that process to get you even better skin. And most people are really happy with, having some kind of protocol to follow. There's so many people out there that I don't think know how to navigate that for their patient. And that's where people get lost, because they go home and they're like, when did she say to do that? What treatment was it that she said I was supposed to do? So we have it all written down for them. Nonetheless, we try to pre-book them out for all of these treatments. You book your dentist appointment every 6 months, right? Why wouldn't you book all of your skin treatments? It takes all of the thinking out of it. Why would you want to have to think about it? Just put it on the calendar, even if you don't know your schedule. And that's what we tell people. You can reschedule, you get tons of reminders, text reminders, email reminders. There's no reason why you wouldn't know you have an appointment. So that's kind of our process in terms of setting them up for success with their treatments.
Okay, let's talk about, you just said reminders and everything. Let's talk about tech and what
Yes.
you use, because this is a lot. I mean, when you are thinking about hand holding a patient through their entire journey, and then say you have, I'm making this up, but 500 patients on a revolving clock, how do you handle hand holding 500 people every single day or every single month? You have to have a little bit of support there. You have to have technology behind it. So, what is some technology that you personally utilize inside of your practice and that you would suggest that others maybe think about implementing into their practices?
Yeah, so we utilize Boulevard for our CRM, which we
We do
absolutely love.
too.
Yeah, oh yeah, we
Yeah.
love Boulevard. We've definitely had two other platforms previously. I won't name them, but Boulevard has been fantastic and legit. I have not experienced another program that updates and constantly improves their platform all the time and actually listens to the people that use it daily with their change log, which is fantastic. So since we've started with them, I want to say it's been 3 years, 2 or 3 years. I don't know. I lost track of time as to how long we've had it, but it's been amazing. Obviously, you're always going to have things that you wish you had or you wish that the program was capable of, but I feel like in a blink of an eye, I'll be like, oh, they finally implemented that or they changed it or updated it. So it's really nice that they do that. I have not ever experienced another program like that. And
Yeah,
then,
I mean, EMR wise, there's no perfect EMR system out
yeah,
there. We just switched this year, and I feel like you always have things on your wish list, right? But
absolutely.
overall, especially the reason that we switched was because it does make the patient experience with booking so much better,
Mhm.
and specifically online booking and conversions of online booking, we immediately noticed a difference. And I feel like if you are skeptical of if a changing your EMR is going to actually help with your online bookings. I get it. We were as well. I promise you, if you have the right one, and it is simple for the person on the other side to make their appointments, to change their appointments, to send in requests and messages, it really will help with your schedule being full.
Yeah.
It will help with converting those people that are maybe thinking about getting a service to actually get the service. So, anyways, that's my thought on EMR. Continue on. So, CRM wise, I think you were just about to talk about CRM.
Yeah, so we have Podium. So Podium is a wonderful program that we've had for a little over a year now, and it's wonderful. So that kind of consolidated all of our communication. So our texting from DMs, from any social media platform, and we definitely have a lot more capability in terms of like bulk texting. So Boulevard has that feature and offers it, but I think now they've kind of come up to par in terms of what their capabilities are, but Podium just kind of blew them out of the water. So we have just strictly gone with Podium. We do, however, still utilize the Boulevard notifications in terms of appointments. So they still do get that separate text in terms of whatever appointment they have scheduled and such. But in terms of texting us, it is a different number. So we haven't really had any issues with that. All of our replies from Boulevard say do not reply so that
Yeah.
people know that if they reply to that message, they're not going to hear anything. And we just put like our correct phone number as to what they can text if they need to communicate. So, and people figure that out very quickly. So we never had any issues with that. But Podium has been super helpful because it's HIPAA compliant, for medical practices. All of our phone calls are recorded. Obviously, we have our text chains saved. So it just really made for great collaborative communication because we know that if the injector had to reach out to our patient for some reason or an esthetician had to reach out to them for some reason, we could read through and kind of catch up on the conversation. So that way the patient isn't repeating themselves. They feel heard. They feel like we all know what we're talking about and there's no question. So it really
Mhm.
made everything so much easier in that sense.
I think when it comes to CRM, something really important to think about is your usage of AI. I think that we
Oh,
all
yeah.
got very excited about using AI and getting these automated responses and having our little chatbot on there. but people are sick and tired of it. People
Yeah.
don't want to talk to a robot. They want to talk to a person. So my suggestion would be, this is something that we have implemented and we've really kind of honed in on. So we've used a couple of different CRMs all through Go High Level. And so currently we're using Aesthetic Conversions CRM. Aesthetic Conversion manages our website and SEO. And I work very closely with Jared and his team over at Aesthetic Conversion. And they have a Go High Level platform that they offer complimentary with their website management and everything, which is super, super nice. So we switched over from the platform that we were paying for over there, of course, and they built it out to be exactly what we want it to look like, pipeline wise and everything. And he is also a stickler on how you are using AI. You want to use it to be smarter, not harder. And if it's creating
Yes.
more problems in your life, you need to cut it out or, hone it in a little bit. You got to train it to work the right way. And
Yes.
so something that we are very careful about with AI is we will have it turned on during, non-business hours where it will say, hey, I'm, chatbot, whatever we have it named. So it'll say like, I'm, whoever, Beyond Skin Aesthetics chatbot. It is after hours, so I'm going to take some notes and help you as much as I can. But if you need further help, a team member will reach out to you as soon as possible. That way, the person knows we will reach out to them. We will answer their question. They're going to get assistance, but you are talking to a bot right now, and it's not our, chatbot AI trying to pretend to be a human. It's very obvious of like, I'm their chatbot. You are talking to a robot right now, but let me get a hold of them. Let me dispatch some real help here, and they'll come in. And our patients really like that a lot because they know that if they need to send a message at 11 p.m., they might be able to get an answer really quickly.
Yes.
But, the next day we're going to have an option. That's also something that we utilize. We of course have like a quote unquote provider number where if there's an after hours emergency, we are on call all the time because we are practicing medicine. It's very important to be reachable by your patients at all times. And we also know that when it comes to patient experience and conversion, especially as moms, we know sometimes those thoughts are at 3 a.m. and we're like, I
Yes.
need to book my Botox appointment and I need to do it right now. So having an option where patients can reach out on a Saturday at 4 p.m. when maybe we're not open, or a Sunday at noon when they're leaving church or whatever and they're with their families and they're like, I'm going to forget if I don't reach out right now. They don't need to wait until Monday at 8 a.m. when we open. They can reach
Yeah.
out then and get attention. And it just follows it all the way through. So I think that you have to have around the clock options,
Yeah.
but don't try to outsmart your patient or client. Make sure that they know it's a robot on the other side and have the option available. Take the
Yeah.
time, train your AI, work with it, work with your team, have the resources available. Is there anything else that you use technology wise that you feel like is an edge that people need to look into?
Let me think. I thought I wrote everything down that I do use.
While you're looking that up, I know you gave us all a great tip when it comes to before and afters, and I
Oh,
skated right
right.
over that earlier, but I want to make sure that we talk about it. Tell us about your basically like photo box. It's like a photo booth
It
almost for your
is.
before and afters.
It is. I can't take credit for finding it. It was another practice that a friend of ours has out in Colorado, and she sent it over to us and was like, "You have to get this," because when I tell you the photo taking process that we have gone through and the trials and tribulations of figuring this out was such a headache. I cannot even tell you how many things we tried, how many different techniques. It was never enough, like, or something was off. So we finally got this photo booth, and it's from Amazon. So it was $250. I don't know. It's not going to break the bank. So I will tell you, to set it up was horrible. I I am always the one in this place to put things together. It's just like my thing. I'm good at it, I guess, to a certain extent. My husband might say otherwise, but I am pretty good at it. So here I am trying to put this damn thing together, and my goodness. So we have a very, very small office room that we did originally build out in our space to be considered the consult room. And originally we just had like a little table in there and chairs, and it was very confined. It's legit like a closet. So it's very small. And we didn't need it to be big. So we just wanted like a private area that wasn't like a treatment room or like wasted space that we weren't, making revenue. So I ended up having to put it together in this room because it would have never fit through the doorway to get in. So it was a project, but I did it and it's working. But it basically, we have a lot of recessed lighting in our spa. So lots of shadows, obviously, lots of natural light coming in. So in this room, there are no windows. We have a door that we shut, and the photo booth is, over. It's a booth, so it looks like a tanning booth if you were to go get sprayed for a spray tan. So everybody that comes in is like, "Oh, you have a tanning booth? Why am I going in here?" And we're like, "No, it's our photo booth." But it does such a great job controlling the lighting for us. There's lights at the top, there's lights on the sides, and you have no overhead shadows at all. So it has been amazing to keep our photos consistent for the last couple of years that we've had it. So it's definitely a game changer.
I love that. I will definitely link this on Patreon for all of you because it is so good. Aleshia sent it to me so that we can get it because consistent photos are so important. We have a photo wall, but I feel like just making that consistent lighting change. And I also feel like that takes listen, y'all, walls get dirty
Yeah.
and nobody wants to have to edit a wall for your before and after pictures. Like, you shouldn't have to edit anything in your before and after pictures. You should be able to just snap and go. So I feel like this takes that hassle out of it
Oh my
for
gosh.
sure.
Yeah.
So we'll
Absolutely.
definitely
Black
get that on there.
background. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like you need the consistency for sure. Okay. I did not prepare you for this question. So hopefully you're good on your toes here. I like to ask all of my guests the same question to wrap up the show. And that is, what is something that is beautiful to you? And that can be something that is physical, spiritual. You can talk industry wise. You can talk more, philosophical. You can take this any way that you want in the world. You can give multiple answers if you want. But Aleshia, what is something that is beautiful to you?
Oh, I could take this in so many different directions, but since we're talking work and business related things, something that is so beautiful to me is when we are able to take a patient through this journey, maybe that didn't have such a great experience in another place or just isn't in a good place mentally, and comes in here and we kind of help instill that confidence back. And it doesn't happen right away, but as they go through their journey, it is so amazing to watch that light come back to their face. So after even 3, 4, 6 months time, which is really not a lot of time, it's a different person walking through your door who just has like this, they're lighter on their feet, they're happy, and they're just ecstatic about their results. And knowing that I was a part of that journey, and I, helped instill this protocol and process to help these people is just, it's unmatched. So, and that's why I love what I do. And I came into this business because I saw the lack of confidence being a makeup artist and having to, correct people's skin in 10 minutes time, not over the course of a year's time. And I had to be like a magician. And just, again, you want people to look and feel their best when you're doing someone's makeup. And this is just an extension of that. So I just love that.
I love that too. Aleshia, you are so easy to talk to. I feel like
Oh,
we're going to have to do
same.
more episodes because I think that we could go on and on and on about this, but I know that there are also so many other topics that you are an expert on that I would love to pick your brain on. So you are welcome to come back anytime you would like.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Absolutely. Before we go, pimp yourself out. Where can we find you? Where can we find Awaken? Give us all the details.
So we are on Instagram. My Instagram handle is aleshiaregan.esti, E-S-T-I. And our practice page is Awaken Aesthetics NJ for New Jersey. So you can find us on Instagram. like, comment, DM any questions you guys have. I'm always here to help. I love helping and educating others because I feel like there's such a lack of that in our industry, just in general, for estheticians especially. So I'm always happy to help.
I agree. There's definitely a lack of just that genuine, colleague helping colleague versus
Yes,
it being like, well, I'll tell you for a price. So I love
right.
that. You're definitely a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for joining today. For everyone out there, if you want to connect with Beyond Skin Aesthetics, you can find us at Beyond Skin Aesthetics on Instagram, the Bright Side of Beauty podcast on Instagram, or mine is Skin by Delaney Danielle. So let's connect. I'm going to put the links to all of our things down in the show notes so that you can easily find our socials and other ways to connect with us. And then, of course, go check out Patreon. Search Delaney Danielle Bright Side of Beauty on Patreon. We're going to have the resources from today's call or from today's podcast, as well as some added bonuses in there too. Aleshia, again, thanks for joining on the Bright Side of Beauty podcast. I hope we get to do this again soon.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Absolutely. See you soon, girlfriend. Bye.
Bye.